what I was taught. I knew more about being a man in a woman's life than I did of being a woman in a man's life.
And that's messed up.
Because that's what the church taught me. Being a child, so disciplined growing up, and now I'm an adult, like you feel traumatized by marriage after you felt pushed to be in a marriage.
That's too far. It's not too far. I'm up like this, and you all the way back. That's because you're talking about some chill. I'm trying to relax. What you mean? It's my channel. Of course I'm trying to be sane. Okay. I'm trying to be relaxed and comfortable. Yeah.
Hey everybody, welcome back to My Flaws and Out 80. This is your girl Sparkle. And stop. Thanks for tuning back in. So today we have been discussing some things during dinner regarding marriage. And we are products of failed marriages. Both of us were previously married, and we were talking about what our hesitation is with marriage. And I believe in any relationship, you should be open and honest about that type of thing, especially if you see yourself in a long-term relationship such as ours. We've been in a relationship 6 years. We dated 2, and we got in a committed one for 4. So, you know, people are asking, word in the street, when y'all getting married? Thing is, we actually are doing this on our time. I'm not being held hostage. I'm not brainwashed. I'm not being made to feel like, you know, girl, he all you got. You can't get nobody else. Not really, no. Not at all. I love him. He loves me. We are in love with each other, and we're best friends. So that is a trio.
And the big thing is that, you know, she mentioned we dated for 2 years. So I'll admit I played around for 2 years. And it was one of those, you know, I was at a stage in my life where, you know, I just really wanted to have fun and remain single. I didn't really know what I wanted at the time. She did. I didn't. You know, again, coming out of a marriage, I said to myself that I didn't want to marry again, or at least I didn't want to jump into it, you know, too soon.
And I was ready. I'm like a month, 2 months out of the divorce papers being signed. I'm like,
and it's different. It's different.
I'm not
going to
be held back.
You know, it's different for everybody, from every man to every woman. You know, some people handle divorce just like some people handle death differently.
I learned that in a marriage.
You get out, you know, you get out of a relationship, especially the ones that we've been in, and yeah, you know, you like, okay, I'm done with that. I'm ready to move on to something new, something fresh, something more deserving. You know, but for most other people like myself, it's like, I don't want to deal with that no time soon. I don't want to go through that type of heartache. I just don't want to do it. You know, and so that's the space that was the space that I was in at the time. That was the place that I was in at the time, you know. And
so when I met him, I got a divorce August of 2014. I signed the papers. I was separated a year before that. We were not living in the same home, the person I was married to. But I still had confidence in knowing that if I do what I feel God is telling me, and to clear it up for some, what God you serve? Jesus Christ, Father, Son, and Holy Ghost, that God. But I know God gave me peace with my decision, because at the marriage that I was in, God told me very clearly, do you want life or death? And I said life, because if I stayed in it, it would have been some death. But neither here nor there. We're not going to get into all of that. Let's fast forward back to this. So, a month and a half, September, we wind up communicating. It was my birthday. Just turned 40, y'all. Y'all ain't see me last week and the week before. I was working my way up to my 40th. My sweetheart did all the sweet stuff. He had
The signs in the front yard. He had people surprise me, drive by. He did awesome. He really did. And he got me this canvas, y'all. I boo-hoo cried. Black Panther.
Y'all see that?
I cried. I was a huge, huge fan of Chadwick and the Black Panther thing. I'm a Marvel fan. That's me.
We wind up both had different reasons for getting out of our marriages, but they were somewhat the same. If you know what the definition of PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, I really honestly feel that I and him both suffered from PTSD due to the marriages that we were in. Now, I can speak for myself, and I speak a little bit for him because we had to work through it together as a couple. I had to learn how to be patient with him, and most definitely he had to learn how to be patient with me, because I'm the type, or I was, to where when I was done. Like, done. Like, I put 6 years into it. Okay. I put 6 years into a marriage before him, and I was not going to waste any more of my life.
She was cold, y'all. Okay. Cold. When I met her, you know, not to mention that when we met, I was still like separated. My now ex-wife she had moved out of town, and I'm not going to go too far into my, background with it, but, she moved out of town, she moved away. I was still separated, and again, it was a nice stain, so I guess a part of me wanted to just, again, mess around and just date, but without having any type of commitment, she wasn't having that, of course.
And that wasn't me. Like, 2 years, at 2 years, that was his wake-up call, because I was done. Like, I can admit I was so eager to move on and be in a relationship, to move to marriage, because I was taught that's how you should do things.
And I couldn't understand for the life of me why she, for the lack of better words, wanted to rush, And
I didn't understand what rush meant.
2 years is a long time.
You want me.
I get it. 2
Back
years.
then,
2 years is a long time, but I would ask myself, like, how did she know, really? She was in a whole marriage with, a failed marriage, just like I was, so how did she really ready to just move on like that and meet someone, get into a relationship, get married, and have kids? I couldn't understand that when we first met. And so, yeah, I was ready to just like slow down and take it easy. I wasn't ready for what she was ready for at the time. And we would talk, and like I said, she was cold. She wasn't never the talking type when we first got together. She didn't want to talk. It was just like no, and that
And you know why that was? I did not want to talk because I was tired of talking. But that goes right back to, he wasn't at fault for what happened in my past marriage, because I was always talking. And if I felt like I said it already, I'm not going to keep repeating myself then.
See, she didn't understand, just like I didn't understand what I had in front of me, right? She didn't know that if you just take your freaking time and just listen, we talk this out, or you be patient, that yes, I can come around, to committing, which I did after 2 years.
Girl, who got time?
Hey.
I mean, that was back then, but that was just me. Like,
look, my grandmother used to tell me all the time, you shouldn't rush perfection. Okay, so this is
I was already perfected, though.
So right here,
no, I was already perfected.
What you
so
see, you can't,
either you was gonna get on board,
you can't rush
or you
this,
was not.
Okay, you can't rush this.
But God,
I tried to, when we talk about having conversations with your mate, at the time potential mate. I had came out of a, I didn't want to argue. I got tired. I'd done enough arguing, so I wanted to talk. I went to therapy,
So you saying I argued? I used to argue with you.
You were no. I'm not saying you used to argue. You were like, combative, aggressive. You know what I'm saying? I'm done. I'm not that, and that was it.
Oh, what?
And I was like, okay, yeah, I'm just wanting to sit down and talk like adults. She was done talking. I was done arguing. So you see, we're kind of, we were clashing, and needless to say, when we started to actually, I want to say after I committed, right? When we actually started to talk.
Now you heard him say after he committed.
Yeah, after I decided that I wanted to
Because
commit.
as women, most, I'm not all, but most women, when you commit to one person, that's it. Like, it ain't no, I'm finna date this person and that person.
Let her tell you.
Don't say it.
She said.
But when it was it, that was it.
Because
we did it, that's it. Ain't nothing.
Cause
you better stop.
Cause yeah.
Once we did it,
she thought I was all right.
Shut up.
And she just claimed me after that, and I'm like,
what you mean claim? That's what you was.
I'm like, wait a minute.
I don't do that, jumping in and out from bed to bed. But that was my decision to stay. So let's get this straight, women. When you get in a relationship, no matter how much you go through, how much stress you go through, just know in the end you decided. Let it be you to say, I decided to stay in this. For whatever reason, whatever lesson you wind up getting out of it, just know if you decide that's you, don't let anybody else tell you, girl, I would have been left him. And girl, when you know what's going on in your own household and in your own relationship, nobody can come in the middle of it and tell you what you should do. Because they not waking up with you, going to sleep with you, they not on the phone with you, they not eating with you, they not nothing. Because what you not going to do is try and tell me how to live my life. And from being a child so disciplined growing up, and now I'm an adult, like you feel traumatized by marriage after you felt pushed to be in a marriage. I honestly feel like I was pressured to marry at 26. I was 25. I married at 26. When we got engaged, I met this man in January. I was married to him in November the same year. I barely knew him that well. And even in the marriage, the engagement, it was red flags. But because of, just say it like it is, because of family, some family, and because of religious beliefs, and because of church, the church that I attended, I was pressured to feel. And you can say you was 25, you was a whole grown adult. As you all know, and you probably didn't heard, if you ain't heard, look it up. Your mind is still in development stage. So I might have had a son and been 25, but I was living with my grandfather and my aunt, and my grandfather felt like you need to get on with your life. Go ahead, get married. This a good man. He go to church. Yeah, okay, I ain't gonna get into all of that. But I felt pressure. And the pressure of getting married was not good. So in the end, I have my daughter. She's 12. I'm happy with it. It is what it is. I thank God wouldn't change a thing about it. Of course, you would want to in the moment, but now looking back, I'm glad I am where I am. So when you are in a relationship for 2 years, and you come from something like that, it's like, no, this is what I was taught. I knew more about being a man in a woman's life than I did of being a woman in a man's life.
And that's messed up.
Because that's what the church taught me. Like, it was non-denominated Christian by the time I was in my 20s. I grew up in Baptist, and then I went to Pentecostal. Then, we went a lot of places. My mom and my brothers. But I ended in Christian non-denomination. And when I say they drilled you on what a husband's supposed to do, what a husband's supposed to say to his wife, how he's supposed to treat her. The one thing that man told me while I was married to him was like,
you know more about being a husband than you do know about being a wife. You don't know nothing about being a wife.
And I couldn't say nothing about it because honestly I had to think about it and say, you're right. So that leads us to where we are now. We've been in this with each other 6 years, fully committed on my end for 6, 4 for him. And I just got tired at year 2, and I was like, you know what? The stuff that I was scared of, being by myself, moving on with my kids. I have my son and my daughter. I can get through this. I don't need anyone to help me but God. You know, I can do this on my own. So if I'm with a man who obviously, you know, I'm in love with, I have to love me and my kids more than I love somebody on the outside who wants to be on the inside, because at this point, I'm sharing my life with him. Like, I allowed him into my space, in my household, with me and my kids. So for me to keep allowing him in and out, and one thing I could say, that one thing that kept me with him though, and it's no excuse for anybody who's in it, I'm not telling y'all to do what I did, because it's not one size fit all. Like, a relationship is different for everybody, just like a diet, just like anything in life. But what held me to trusting him, which I had no trust in prior relationships, was him being upfront with me. Like, he would tell me, I'm not ready to commit. And if I asked him something, he honestly told me. He didn't lie if he was with somebody. He didn't, none of that. And for somebody who had people lying to them majority of their adult life, that was a win. So you felt like, well, I mean, he ain't lying to me. But still no. He know where he should have picked up the pieces. And he did 2 years later.
So you might be asking yourself, well, okay, Jermaine, why after 2 years? What finally, you know, got you to commit? Well, I'm a mama's boy. Not that mama's boy.
He sure ain't, because I don't do those. No,
Not that, no. But